In this video, I'm going to show you how I was able to make $2,000 this week, risking only $200 per trade on NQ using volume profile and bookmap for entry confirmations. I'm going to cover how to actually find and plot these volume profile levels and how to trade them depending on each market condition and each scenario. And lastly, we will take a look at some trades that I took this week together with the bookmap confirmation. So without further ado, let's start with the video. Okay, so before we start, I'd like to show you guys that these are my actual results from this week. You can see this is my Top Step live funded account. This week on Monday, had a minor loss. Tuesday, didn't have any trade, missed out unfortunately on a beautiful short setup. That was a painful one because the bookmap was lagging a lot right at the moment of entry, so I missed out on that trade. And you guys know that I risked $200 per trade, and this was a 4-hour target trade, and everything was there. It just reached my level, I had my location in place. I knew I was going to target, just the bookmap was lagging, so I missed out on $800 unfortunately on Tuesday, but I made up for it with the rest of the week. As you can see, on Wednesday took some nice gains, Thursday even more, and Friday with a banger. Obviously it looks like I took 21 trades, but obviously I didn't. For those of you that know how prop firms count these trades, is each partial that you take is a separate trade. So obviously I took a lot less trades than 21 trades this week, but just each parcel is counted as a separate trade. For example, on Thursday, you can see I made $825.80. Here you can see that technically I took 3 trades, but in the end it was just 2. So I took a sell position over here that ended up break even. You can see right here. And then I took a winning trade, which was around 4R, a little over 4R. And these are split between 2 trades just because I took partials. You can see this was the same entry time over here at 3:51 my time, so that's about 21 minutes into the market open. And this trade took about 10 minutes, so I took partials right here at 4 p.m. and then the full target got hit at about a minute and a half later. So yeah, these two together obviously are just one trade, but Top Step counts it as 2 separate trades. So anyways, this was just to show you guys the proof that I actually made it. Now let's get with the charts. So the first thing you would need to do is go to indicators and type in SVP. And here you can have the session volume profile. Both of them are pretty much the same. I just use the first one, and you can play around with the settings. You click on custom. I have it on custom, and I only, being based in Europe, I only have the RTH session. I don't look at the overnight or the pre-market session for my trading New York session. And obviously, being based in Europe, this for me starts at 3:30 and the market closes at 10 p.m. So adjust this to your time zones accordingly. In terms of volume, I have the total volume. Value area, I just left it at 70. And then the row size is basically how thin or thick you want the bars to be. So I have it at 200 because I like it to have quite thin. It's just quite clear to me. But obviously, if you would have it at 50, well, then the size of the bars would obviously change and become thicker. So for me, it's just the cleanest to have it at 200. So these are the settings that I have for my volume profile. And the reason that I don't look at the pre-market or overnight is basically because if you just think about it logically, where's all the money at in the market is during US hours. Obviously, London can also give some great opportunities, and I do have strategies separate for that, which I'll cover in another video, how I trade the London session on NQ. And that is actually based on the Asian session volume profile, and obviously I use the bookmap for that as well, but I'll leave that for a separate video entirely. I'll just focus on the US sessions in this video. There's a couple of things that I want to explain to you guys at the levels that I actually look for. So from the volume profile from the previous day, I look at the value area high, the value area low, the POC, and low volume nodes. So low volume nodes basically are just an area where you can see a big decrease in volume. So here, for example, on this day, which was Tuesday, February the 3rd, you can see how we have volume over here, a big decrease in volume, and then again, a big increase in volume, and again, a small one over here. So for me, this whole area right here would be a low volume node. And low volume nodes, basically either they get respected super quick or they get sliced through very quick. Okay, there's usually not much chopping around in these areas. So these are potential reversal areas, and I like to look for those as they can give some very nice trades. Okay, so these are the main levels based on volume profile that I look out for. And then I also have a couple of levels from the previous day. Okay, so I would have the 24-hour previous day high, 24-hour previous day low. I'd also have the RTH high and the RTH low as well. Sometimes, obviously, these are the same. This can happen depending on, obviously, where price was. But I would mark out these 4 levels. Okay, and then the scenarios are very important to understand to get a grasp on the context of what the market might do in your trading session. So either the market opens inside of the previous day value area, either it opens above the value high, or either opens below the value area low. So basically, to keep it quite simple with you guys, is if price opens inside the previous day value area, it is very likely to have more of a balanced session. So the main levels that I would be looking out for would be to sell at previous day value area high and buy at the value area low. In the POC, you can use sometimes, but I would also use obviously low volume nodes for reversals. But I would say the main levels would be the value area high, the value area low, just to basically trade the rejections of these areas. If price would open above the value area high, there's a bigger chance that the session might be to the bullish side. So there you can wait for pullbacks into the previous day value area high, maybe wait for a pullback on the POC or maybe low volume node that you have. Those would be the levels that I'd be looking for if price opens above value area high. If price opens below value area low, I'll be looking for break and retest basically, or just pullbacks into the value area low, and then I'd look to short that. And maybe if not, if this level doesn't get respected, maybe there's a low volume node in this value area, and then you can just wait for pullbacks into that low volume node and try and trade the reversal from there. Okay, so these is how I would treat these scenarios according to these levels. Now that you have a basic understanding of this, let's actually take a look at some trades that I took using these volume profile levels, also taking into consideration the type of scenario that we're in, where the market is going to open, and also take a look at the bookmap for our entry confirmations and see exactly what confirmations I use to enter at these levels, and also where I place my stop loss and where I look for targets. So let's take a look at Thursday's trades that I took here. You can see I made $825 that day. We had one sell trade right about 5 minutes into the market open, ended up break even. Then about 15 minutes later, I took another short position, and about 10 minutes later, about 30 minutes into the market open, I was able to take profit. Obviously, I took some partials right here for $356, and then the full TP got hit here at $472, combining a little over $800. So, great trading day. Let's take a look at the charts here. So let's go back a little bit and analyze this situation, this scenario. So we have the value area low, POC, value area high, previous day RTH high, previous day high, and the previous day low. We can see that the market is about to open, and we are way below the value area low, okay, and below the value area range. So my first idea to look for trades is going to be shorting pullbacks. So the first area that I'll be looking to sell into would be a previous day low pullback, and I'll be looking for shorts over here. And if this level won't hold, then I would just wait for price to go higher into the value area low from the previous day, and I'll be looking for shorts over there. Now, if price would just break these two levels very aggressively and would reclaim back into the value area range, there's two options. Either it goes straight into the POC and I'll be looking for sells there, or it breaks this level, doesn't get to the POC yet, and retraces into the value area low, then I'll be looking for a buy trade. Okay, it's going to be a short scalp into the POC. Okay, so this would only be the case if this is a proper reclaim of the value area. And you can see that around these price levels of the value area high, the low, and the POC, I have a rectangle drawn out, basically a zone. And this is because price is usually not as precise that to touch this level to the tick and then completely reverse. So I'd like to give it a little bit of more room around these price levels. So let's go to the 1 minute and hit on play and see what happens at the market open. So we have a drop for the first 2 minutes, and then price retraces back into the previous day low, goes quite aggressive, but then on the bookmap I can see this whole area right here was a level of resistance where a lot of sellers were pushing the price down for multiple times. So I was willing to try and short as soon as price hit this level right here, and we're at the 98s, and this is also where I took my entry, as we'll take a look now on the bookmap. And my main targets for this would be just the current low of day, and probably take partials around here at this swing low here on the M1, or also depending if there are any significant bids sitting on the bookmap, okay, which you can obviously see clearly. So here we have price pushing into our level, and now the only thing we have to do is wait for an entry confirmation. Now what I ideally would like to see is aggressive buying being failed, and seeing moves to the downside, with aggressive selling. So here we can see already aggressive buying, and they couldn't push the price further up. And then we see it's followed by aggressive selling. Okay, so then all I would need to see is a pullback and then see aggressive selling. Okay, and here's exactly where I entered around the 96, 97. We can see aggressive buying, it failed, aggressive selling stepped in, broke a couple of lows here. If you zoom in, you can see it broke structure to the downside of this low as well. And then we have a nice little pullback, again with aggressive buying that's being failed, and then we see aggressive selling stepping in, and this is where I entered, somewhere in these red bubbles. And obviously I was targeting, low of day, which would be over here at the 652s. So a pretty decent move, about 130 points. Yeah, 130 points. So pretty decent move. And luckily I was able to go break even on this trade as it went in my direction after a couple minutes. And it came back to my entry, and then finally it had a good drop to the downside, and that's why I was able to move my stop loss to break even after this drop right here. You can see obviously I entered around the 97, 98, and then it went all the way down to 65, 64. So I was like 30 odd points in profit. So I was like, okay, I'm going to move my stop loss to break even, and then it took me out very soon after. So now we'll take a look at the winning trade that I took, the next short, a little bit later on. And this trade was also very, very clean. I mean, I think both trades were very good and very valid. It's just good that I was able to go break even, obviously, on my first short pretty quickly. And I just got stopped out and break even, very quickly. And price just went straight up and getting close to the value area low level. It was stalling a little bit. And then in the end, we saw basically a very aggressive sweep of these highs. You can see right here, a very aggressive sweep. This is exactly what I wanted to see. Very aggressive above, all this small consolidation, as you can clearly see on the Bookmap. And I had multiple targets already in mind for this. I had this swing low right here on the M1, and then another swing low right here. Obviously, you had low of day here as well, but I didn't want to be too greedy in case price would just reverse and buyers could reclaim back above the previous, value area low, since it already reclaimed strongly above the previous day low. Okay, so let's take a look at the Bookmap and see what confirmation that I used. So here we have this consolidation, and we have this very aggressive move to the upside, right? This is what I want to see. Like, this is a plus setup. We have a lot of consolidation, a lot of wicks, and all of a sudden a very aggressive move to the upside, then a confirmation, and then price just collapse after that. Okay, so again, what I want to see is aggressive buying, being failed, and then see lower highs being set or double tops with aggressive selling, and then just step in there as soon as the aggressive selling is confirmed, stop loss above the highs, and then I already have my predefined targets. So let's take a look at how that looks here on the chart. So we see some aggressive selling is stepping in here with some double tops or triple tops being set. You have a break of structure to the downside. All you have to do now is just wait for pullbacks with a aggressive buying, being failed, and then aggressive selling stepping in. And if we take a look at my entries, you can see that my entry price for both these trades were at the 936s. So let's take a look at the 936s over here. So, I could have gotten a little bit of better entry, but it's still pretty decent. So here we see another pullback with buying being failed, another break of structure to the downside. And here we can see aggressive selling stepping in. We have another pullback again. So we have multiple areas where you could enter the market. You can enter over here, which is where I entered at the 36s after I saw this aggressive selling being confirmed. And then we had another chance obviously over here that came right around my entry, a little bit above. And again, yeah, this was a weaker pullback basically with weaker buying, which is also good to see, that some selling stepping in as well. But just seeing this weaker pullback of buyers is already, for me personally, it's worth the risk, even though I was in already over here after these lower highs being set and seeing aggressive selling stepping in. This is exactly where I entered, and obviously the rest is history. I had the 758s as a target over here, and then the full target at the 700s. So here we had a massive drop. Obviously was able to move my stop loss to break even pretty quickly, and then it just went to my targets pretty quickly, literally in the matter of 10 minutes. I was out of this trade. So let's see what we can find here on the Bookmap as well. So we have quite some bits over here as well, but I was obviously aiming for a bigger target. I was aiming for the 750s, which was an M1 swing low over here. We also had these bits sitting right here at the 750s, 730s as well. And then obviously at the 700s, we had a big bit sitting right here, as you can see, which also aligned with this M1 low. This is why I chose those targets, because I was going to be happy with that risk to reward. I think in terms of candlesticks, it made sense because of those swing lows, and it also aligned with multiple bids. So for me, those were just very clear targets. Okay, so speed it up a little bit more, but I don't take too much of your guys' time. And here you go. We have the 750s over here are being hit. It's going a little bit too quick now. And then we have this massive bid sitting right here at the 700s, and finally this target get hit, and I'm all out of the trade. Okay, so yeah, this was a beautiful trade. The confirmation, I'd say, was pretty similar, to be honest, as the first trade that I took that ended up break even. You just can see how aggressive buyers are trying to push the price higher, but they keep on failing. And then we have minor pullbacks, lower highs being set, as you can see, followed by aggressive selling. And those are usually just the best kind of setups. And Nasdaq, I have to say, is moving very, very clean. A lot cleaner for me personally than ES. That's why I just made the switch recently this week to NQ, and well, it paid me well, you know, making this switch. So yeah, this was very, very good trade. I would say it's an A+ setup. Following my rules, the location was good, the confirmation was good, the context of the market was good, the target was good. That's why it ended up being a 4-hour trade, literally about 10 minutes, you know, risking $200, making $800. So, you know, that was a great, great trade. So anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. So we covered, you know, the basics of volume profile, how to spot those different kind of levels, how to treat each scenario differently, and also some examples of trades that I took, and also take a look at the confirmation on the Bookmap, which is what I do every single day. It's my bread and butter. You know, understanding the Bookmap has really made a major change in my profitability and consistency in trading. And the more time I spend, you know, trying to understand the Bookmap, the better trader I become. So, you know, if you have any questions about anything, just let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. So I will see you in the next video.